Hey, how's it going? Liam Scanlon here, coming to you from a very wet and windy Glenhest in County Mayo this evening. Delighted to be here as part of the Linenhall Splendid Isolation series to talk a little bit about my creative practice and what it is that I do. So I'm a traditional artist and I specialise in percussive dance. Growing up, we would have learnt Irish dancing locally. At the same time, we would have learned set dancing. We got a lot of our set dancing from um, children's classes in town with Carolyn O'Malley, and also from dancing at local Cayleys. So we had a big influence of local dancers dancing with us and transmitting the tradition in a live manner. And I suppose that had a big bearing on my the way I think about dancing in my work at the moment. Um, I also was really taken by Sean Nós dancing as a teenager, and since then, and I learned was introduced to Sean Nós dancing by the Cunningham family from Connemara, who were good friends of mine, and I suppose it was the spontaneity and the energy in the and the ability to freestyle in Sean Nós dancing that really drew me to it, and the strong connection with traditional music and the power in the conversation between both of them was really something that struck me. And I think that plays a big part in my work today as well. After a number of years of performing dance and performing with different troupes and bands and working with traditional dance, I felt I needed a little more theory and a little more training, maybe to enhance what I do and develop and expand on my creative practice. So I went back to UL and I studied a master's in traditional dance performance, which I found really difficult, but also really helpful and I suppose empowering. Um, it helped me look deeper into what it is that traditional dance is for me, or dance in general is for me, and to explore dance with a more of a contemporary mindset to pull things apart and to dig down deep and find out what the core or the real soul of the art form is. Also, it was brilliant to be exposed to other dance types like Highland dancing, traditional Canadian dancing, Cape Breton step dancing, flamenco. Um, uh, wasn't any great shakes at any of them, but it all like the magpie thing again. It all led into one, and has definitely influenced my style and my way of thinking with what I do. Um, and then as a Dance Ireland associate artist, Dance Ireland really helped me provide me with time and space to develop my first solo work, Noskana, which I created with local fiddle player David Ducey and Anya McGeaney, which really kind of explored the connections between music and dance, which has always been really important to me and my artwork. And I suppose I've been influenced by non-traditional dancers as well, the likes of Catherine Young and John Scott, as well as Sylvia Gribaldi and Zogma Dance Company in Quebec as well, and their work with traditional percussive dance in Quebec and how they reimagine it in a contemporary form, really. So my daily work routine, it can vary constantly, depending whether I'm touring or teaching dance or creating. Um, we set up Bio Dance to teach dance and a love for dancing to a younger generation. So that's generally evening classes, or there could be summer schools and weekend festivals where we teach in workshops around Ireland or abroad. Um, and then for creative purposes, I suppose when in a creative process, trying to maybe research or create new work, um, there's a huge element to play in what I do. So I like to put on the music to record and then just to try and dance and improvise to the music and see what comes out. So like you could have hours of nothing, and then when you're looking back you might find a few ideas that lead to something else in the videos, which I find is the my favorite way to work, really. I'm also a primary school teacher in Castlebar, so working with the children in the school I find is really useful for that sense of play and that ability to stay in touch with fun and having the crack is really useful. That all feeds into the dancing as well, I think. So at the moment, working on a series of jig workshops for the Linenhall, which go up every Wednesday, and using the tune Chuck and Shnachta by Mayo musician from Gisalia, Joe Carey. As well as that, working on a Next Generation award from the Arts Council with Anya McGeaney, who's a fiddle player and singer from County Louth, and we're working on developing new material, which we hope to be showing soon. So we have no fancy dance studio for you at the moment. This is my dance studio these days. It's a piece of plywood, which does the job for dancing on, and it's sitting on a yoga mat. Really good for warming up and stretching afterwards, but it also acts as a grip, so the floor doesn't slip when you're dancing on it. And of course, we have a mirror just so you can see what you're doing when you're dancing. And our most important piece of equipment are shoes. So these are just normal men's shoes. There's no taps in them. You'll find each pair of shoes gives you a different sound when you dance off the floor. So fun thing to play around and experiment with, dancing with taps, dancing with just normal shoes, or even giving the runners a go. So I suppose that COVID-19 is affecting everybody in lots of different ways. At the moment, there is teaching dance is in our traditional form is out. There's no big gatherings, no performances, no tours. So it's trying to look at how to connect, how to share your art form via new media. So online or over the internet, from a distance, or pre-recorded videos, really having to think differently about how we present an art form which is usually set right in the middle of people and in a community, in a time when we're all trying to socially distance. So it's I suppose it's presenting its own challenges and opportunities in different ways. So any advice I'd give to people who want to explore the creativity, I'd say play, have fun with it, not to think too much, just to go for it and try things out, and not to overanalyze it. Talk with other people, meet with other people and talk about creativity, and don't be afraid to go places and see things and try things that you wouldn't normally go and see. To go and see an art exhibition, a piece of theatre, to try some dance. Even better is to get involved and take workshops in dance forms you might normally be involved in. Go hear new music, go hear traditional music, go hear jazz. The likes of the Linenhall is really useful and really good support that we're really lucky to have here in Mayo, where there's huge amounts of art in so many different forms coming that we get to sample and to taste and to take part in, and all of these are art and are creative, and it really feeds into your creativity. So don't be afraid to be a little bit scared and to try things that scare you a small bit in with creativity, and yeah, have fun and play.